Hello everyone. So in this video we will study about file transfer protocol and hypertext transfer protocol HTTP. So first we will study about FTP. FTP stands for file transfer protocol. FTP is used to transfer computer files. You have probably used FTP before even you didn't realize it. If you download something from the internet, such as new version of an application, it is possible that you have used FTP. FTP is also frequently used as a way to transfer web pages. FTP allows new web pages created by an individual to show up on the internet. FTP essentially transfers these web pages files to the computer server so others can access them. FTP can also be used to download files or programs from the internet to your computer. When you download these files, you are transferring them from other servers through FTP. FTP can allow you to transfer files over any two computers as long as they both have an internet connection. You can share folders that contain data like music, Word documents, and more. So these are the objectives of FTP: sharing files, used to encourage the use of remote computers and transfer the data more reliably and efficiently. Now, why FTP? Why we use this? Although transferring files from one system to another is very simple and straightforward, but sometimes it can cause problems. So now how does the FTP work? When files are transferred through FTP, one of two actions is happening: downloading and uploading. So uploading involves transferring from a personal computer to a server, and downloading involves transferring a file from a server to a computer. FTP uses TCP/IP connection to transfer your files. TCP/IP is basically the language that the internet uses to carry out the commands. If you are going to use file transfer protocol in order to download the file, you should keep security concerns in mind. Files downloaded from the internet may have viruses that can harm your computer. One way to use FTP is to go through an FTP client. FTP client may make it safer for your computer to download and upload files. Now, what is the mechanism of FTP? So we have this picture to understand the mechanism of FTP. We have client, we have server, and we have TCP/IP control mechanism that controls the connection and data connection also. The above figure shows the basic model of FTP. The FTP client has three components: the user interface, the control process, and the data transfer process. Now, there are two types of connection in FTP: control connection and data connections. The control connections uses very simple rules for communication. Through control connection, we can transfer a line of command or a line of response at a time. The control connection is made between the control process. The control connection remains connected during the entire interactive FTP session. For data connection, the data connection uses very complex rules as data types may have. The data connection is made between data transfer processes. The data connection opens when a command comes for transferring the files and closes when the file is transferred. What are the advantages of FTP? First is speed. One of the biggest advantages of FTP is speed. The FTP is one of the fastest way to transfer the files from one computer to another. FTP is efficient. It is more efficient as we do not need to complete all the operations to get the entire file. It is secure. To access the FTP server, we need to log in with the username and password, and FTP allows us to transfer the files back and forth. Suppose you are a manager of company, you send some information to employees and they send information back on the same server. So it provides us back and forth movement. So these are the advantages of FTP, and now we'll talk about HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. HTTP is an application level protocol for distributed collaborative hypermedia information system. This is the foundation for data communication for the World Wide Web. It is a protocol used to access the data on the World Wide Web. HTTP protocol can be used to transfer the data in the form of plain text, hypertext, audio, video, and so on. This protocol is known as Hypertext Transfer Protocol because of its efficiency that allows us to use in a hypertext environment where there are rapid jumps from one document to another. It is similar to the FTP as it also transfers the files from one host to another host. But HTTP is similar than FTP as it uses only one connection. It is used to carry the data in the form of MIME like format. HTTP is similar to SMTP, which is Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, as the data is transferred between the client and server. The HTTP differs from the SMTP in the way the messages are sent from the client to the server and from server to the client. SMTP messages are stored and forwarded, while HTTP messages are delivered immediately. So these are the basic features of HTTP. HTTP is connectionless. It is a connectionless protocol. Means when HTTP clients initiates a request and waits for a response from the server. When the server receives the request, the server processes the request and sends back the response to the HTTP client, after which the client disconnects the connection, and the connection between client and server exits only during the current request and response time only. Now the second one is it is media independent. Means the HTTP protocol is a media independent as data can be sent as long as both of the client and server know how to handle the data content. It is required for both the client and server to specify the content type in. Next is HTTP is stateless. Means it is a stateless protocol as both the client and server know each other only during the current request. Due to this nature of the protocol, both the client and server do not retain the information between various requests of the web pages. Basic architecture of HTTP. So it has the components like web server, web client, server side, script, and the database. The HTTP protocol is a request response protocol based on the client server based architecture where web browser, robots, and search engines etc. act like HTTP client, and the web server acts as a server. So first, the component is client. The HTTP client sends a request to the server in the form of the request method URI and the protocol version, followed by MIME like message containing request modifiers, client information, and possible body content over a TCP connection. Second one is server. The server responds with a status line including the messages, protocol version, and a success or error code followed by MIME like message containing server information, entity meta information, and possible entity body content. So that was a brief introduction of FTP and HTTP.